Hey nerdy knitters, if you've heard about or watched the movie on Netflix, Don't Look Up, then you're probably already aware about that beautiful sweater that Jennifer Lawrence is wearing. It is taking the knitting world by storm. People want to know where they can buy their own, or if you're a knitter, you want to know how you can knit your own. Now the sweater is from Target and sadly it's sold out, so if you wanted to purchase one, you can't do that. But you could still knit a sweater inspired by that beautiful design. I've collected 5 different sweater patterns that are similar in design, but I also have a tip. If you want to knit one that's more of an exact replica, I'll show you exactly how you can do that as well. But before we dive in, I just want to say, hey, I'm Tanya here at Nerdy Knitting. I'm a certified knitting instructor and a knitwear designer. My goal is to help you become a more confident, adventurous knitter. Now, you're probably not going to find an exact replica knitting pattern for this sweater, at least not yet. I'm sure some knitter somewhere will design a pattern. But for now, you could choose a similar looking sweater and then choose the same colors that are in that original sweater, that mustard brown, that black, those pops of hot pink, and you can use those colors to get a very similar and unique design for yourself. Now I found 5 patterns that are similar to this one. They're not exact, but I do have a tip if you want something that's more exact, so stick around to the end for that. But these 5 sweaters, I had a few rules I followed. They all had to have just 3 colors like the original design. They also had to be a circular yoke pattern, and they had to have more of a geometric Icelandic motif design. So I searched online and I found some that I think are pretty comparable. First is Tundra by Petite Knitter. Now this is a colorwork Icelandic yoke. This one is knit from the bottom up. So you're going to knit the body and the sleeves separately, then you'll join them and then you're going to work that yoke and neckline together. Now this one comes in a size range that's suitable for both men and women. And it has these beautiful motifs along the yoke. And then smaller motifs are worked at the hem and the sleeve cuffs as well. This one uses an Aran weight Icelandic yarn for a warm, cozy sweater. The next selection is Reykjavik Soft. Now this beautiful sweater is worked from the top down. This one, you start with the yoke and then you divide for the sleeves and the body. And then after you finish the body, you pick up those sleeve stitches to work the sleeves down to the cuff. Now this beautiful geometric design is worked in 3 colors in an Aran weight Icelandic yarn, so it will be soft and warm but very lightweight if you use the same kind of yarn. And the motifs are also repeated at the cuffs and hem. Now that would be easy to modify if you don't want the contrast at the hem like the original sweater. Then we have the Eldfell pullover. Now this one's worked in the round from the bottom up, so you're working the body and the sleeve separately and then joining them to work the yoke. The motifs at the yoke are repeated on the cuffs and a hem, again, which would be easy to modify if you just want a plain hem. This one uses Knit Picks bulky Wonder Fluff yarn, which is a blown yarn. It's a blend of baby alpaca and merino that's blown into a small nylon mesh tube, so it's super soft and also very light and warm. Then we have Urban Adventure. Now this one's worked top down, so you're starting at the neckline and you're knitting that beautiful yoke first, then you separate for the sleeves and the body. And then after you finish the body, you put the stitches for the sleeves back on your needles and knit them to the cuffs. Now all the color work is done on the yoke. There's no embellishments on the sleeves or the body of the sweater. But if you're feeling adventurous, you could take some of the motifs from the yoke and repeat them on the sleeves of the sweater. Now this one uses Cascade 220. It's a worsted weight wool yarn. Then we have Fayui. Now this is a very large, oversized Icelandic motifs and yoke. It's worked from the top down, so construction is similar to methods we've explained with the other sweaters, but this one is more oversized in nature. The yoke gives it almost like a poncho-like quality, and then short rows are used to give it the body its shape. Now this one uses an Icelandic DK weight yarn that's held double, so it will be very warm and very cozy. Now you could choose one of those sweaters and then select the colors that are in Jennifer Lawrence's original sweater to make something that's really unique. Now if you have your heart set on a more exact replica of that sweater, then my last recommendation is Strange Brew by Tin Can Knits. Now this isn't a pattern so much as a recipe and a guide to walk you through designing and knitting your own colorwork yoke sweater. It comes with a basic pattern recipe, the stitch counts, the construction method, and it also has a lot of different stitch pattern motifs. But where you want to design one that's more of a replica of an already knit sweater, what you're going to have to do is find pictures of that sweater, especially the yoke, and try to chart that out for yourself. So this is going to take more work, but you could get a pretty close replica by following their steps. and making some charts for yourself. So if you're feeling very adventurous, then you could definitely replicate this sweater for yourself. Now, those are just some of the sweaters that I found. Now, if you have a sweater that you think would be a good match for that original sweater from Don't Look Up, please leave me a comment and tell me about it. And if you're looking for more pattern recommendations, go down and read those comments to see what other knitters have to say. I always love the things that they recommend. And if you'd love to explore more TV-inspired knitting, I have a short playlist for you right here. I'll see you in the next video.